and welcome back to Still Becoming with Jazzy and Drew, the podcast where we share real conversations about growth, identity, resilience, and the ongoing journey of becoming exactly who we are meant to be. Today's guest is Evelyna Castro. She's a makeup artist, disability advocate, former Miss Wheelchair Washington, and adaptable strength trainer, and someone who has shared her story on many other podcasts and pageants and across communities to encourage others to live boldly. Her journey includes navigating medical trauma, mental health, independence, and redefining identity on her own terms. Evelina, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Before we dive into your story, I would love for you to introduce yourself in your own words. Who is Evelina beyond the title and accomplishments?
Evelina is a woman who, for lack of a better word, is very stubborn, likes things her way, and she's very curious as well. She's a fighter, I guess you
I
could
love
say.
that. I love that so much. I feel like we are gonna become good friends because you sound a lot like me. And you sound a lot
That's
like
awesome.
you. You
Oh
sound
yeah.
like you. So I think
Oh
you're
yeah.
right.
I would think you sounds a lot like Jazzy. Also,
Of course, you would say you sound a lot like me. I finally met my man, I guess.
I guess I wonder why. Well, no, sing about that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, I love that so much. I love that you have, your fear side, but you also have your curiosity side. And it sounds like you're not afraid to like test the waters and just kind of like a bit of a cat. And a cat like will stick their paw and something like, oh, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing that stood out to me from your intake form was something you wrote about disability. You shared that you don't necessarily see yourself as disabled, even though you're not ashamed of your disability. Can you tell us more about that? And what has your relationship with disability identity looked like over the years?
Well, my relationship with disability has been definitely a complicated one. And that's very true. I am not ashamed of my disability. People kind of, I think people get that a little mixed up when I say I don't see myself as being disabled. What I mean by that is I don't see myself the way society sees me. Society views disability as honestly like, oh, the poor things, they can't, do anything. And a lot of us, at least myself, has have been talked to like we don't have a brain in our heads. And it's really so in that way, like I don't see myself like that at all. So to me, I don't see myself as disabled because I travel by myself. I do things on my own. Like I wheel my chair, I take public transportation, I have my own place. I'm not a pity party like people like to kind of think we are. And, and no matter what kind of disability we all have our own ideas of what disability is. And if, you're a proud disabled person, that is perfectly fine. That's how you identify yourself. I think we all just kind of have our own ways of it's just a way of how I identify myself. Just because like I grew up not going to a school that had disabled kids also. So I kind of look at myself as more of an uh, quote unquote, excuse my what I'm about to say, but a quote unquote normal person. Um, you know, it wasn't until high school where I actually saw well, I went to high school with high school was the first time I actually shared a school with disabled people, physically disabled, if that
Um,
makes sense. I don't know how to
yeah,
say
yeah,
this.
that makes
I don't
perfect
want
sense,
to
yeah,
offend anybody.
yeah. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And, it's interesting. You're the second person that Drew and I are interviewing that shared their school experiences and who shared that they were the only disabled, well, what you said, physically disabled person in their school. And it's like, I can't even imagine having to navigate that on top of everything else. I was homeschooled all my life because my mom, I was in New York City and um almost the same situation. My mom couldn't find a school that she felt was safe enough for me to be in as a disabled person, and she didn't want me to be in the
Mm.
like, quote unquote non-disabled kid. Um, so I think
Mm.
it's very interesting. Again, like I said, I'm sorry, the second person, the interviewer that shared that experience. And I think that has a lot to do with how you choose to identify yourself, right? Um,
Exactly.
and
Can I
I
say something though
yeah,
in that regard as to like when okay, so going to school with other disabled people, I didn't do that until I was in high school. However, from a young age, I was about 8, I think I was a part of an adaptive sports team that
okay,
I was a part of on the weekends and stuff, and I participated. But as far as school was concerned, yeah, that's when I didn't I was not in special ed, and I was
yeah,
not in the programs with other physically disabled people.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's so interesting. I think those early experiences we have growing up can really shape our identity. Um, as far as,
Absolutely.
do we see ourselves as disabled and what we're not, right? Um, and especially you touched on how some people treat us like we don't have to. That's
Yeah.
so true.
Oh, yeah.
I feels like one. Oh, they ship stuff to us like we're kids and then grown adults, you know. Um,
Yeah, if they
some
just
people,
talk to us like we are normal, just another person walking down the street. Like, come on, it'd be
Yeah.
better, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I totally agree. Jill, would you like to add anything?
I didn't want to say I totally agree with you, Evelyna. The what I read all the way up to graduate school, and still when I heard details, they look at me or they treat me like I don't have a brain in my head,
Yeah.
and they and then they're like, "Oh, so sorry, well you looking at me, sorry, and you treating everybody equal, equally."
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Everybody's
Exactly.
different in their own way. Is like what makes physically disabled or any kind of disabled person that different that you have to treat them like they're not human in
Exactly.
some cases.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah.
And that's
And,
exactly why. Oh, sorry, Jules. Go ahead.
and I also wanted to say I went to, I think it was the only school in the country where, uh, were educationally oriented and educationally disabled children. So I cannot imagine the courage it had to take to not go to school with other disabled people was doing work in a high school that took a lot of courage, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah. So he was going to say how his experience with private school is he was fortunate enough to go to the school. It's the only school in the country. It's in New York.
Mm.
And it was a school that, you know, a regular school setting, they had regular education for everyone else, but it was a school specifically for people with disabilities that he went to.
Oh, wow.
So he was saying how he can't imagine what it might have been like to be called to school
Oh,
as the only one with a disability, and he said that must have took a lot of courage, and he really applauds you for that.
thank you so much. It also didn't help that I felt like I was like really shy and afraid of people too. I didn't really
Yeah,
didn't really have a whole lot of friends. But yeah, it can be a little traumatizing sometimes. I guess,
I
for
agree.
some people it can be, but that was all I knew. So I was like, okay, let's go to school.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah,
I would say,
thank you
I'm like,
though.
some people, I share about my solution. I'm like, yeah, I have the education, but also a big part of school, right, is that social development time. And I feel like when
Uh-huh.
we're not in the proper school setting, or we don't have that opportunity, you know, the education part is one thing, but then we really lack on developing those social skills. And it
That's so
affects us,
true.
yeah, it really impacts us later in life because I'm like you, very shy, you know. I don't have friends
Uh-huh.
yet. I've been in college for 8 years and I haven't made one friend, because like I don't know, I miss friends,
Mhm.
I'm comfortable to be
Yeah.
someone like this. I'm like, hey, then I have to find, they look at me anyway, like, who the hell are you? So, it's
Right.
better.
Yeah.
She was always told me,
Yeah.
you're the one to, like, I'm posting, so I'm like, yeah, she's just you. And so, I totally get that part. It's like, it's cool. We have the education, but we suck at socializing.
Absolutely.
So, you also mentioned in your intake about medical trauma. And I think medical trauma is something many people don't fully understand unless they've lived it. So, can you share what
Yeah.
that journey has been like for you and how those experiences shape the person you are today?
That I definitely have to say that my medical issues, my medical trauma, I really do feel has shaped the person I am today, along with my parents and the kind of family I grew up in. Uh, I've had surgeries and I've had back surgeries, I've had head surgeries, I've mainly, I think those were my main ones. Also had a couple of, sores, like skin breakdowns, that I had to get surgically fixed. And for somebody, I was born with spina bifida, and, for those that I know with spina bifida, I do have to say I feel extremely fortunate that I haven't had a lot of, um what I know a lot of other people have had to deal with,
Uh-huh.
but I you know, I'm a hard stick when it comes to, like, getting poked. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah, me too.
I have huge needle phobia. Excuse me? Needle phobia is when it comes to, like, IVs or blood draws or
Yeah.
anything like that. To this day, I still cry. I still, I need, like, panic attack medication to calm me down.
Oh, no.
Um, the thought the thought of getting poked just can make me hyperventilate sometimes and,
Yeah.
get me into a panic attack. It's,
Oh, wow.
because, when I was a baby, I was very, very young. I don't maybe when I was 5? When I was 5, that was my first surgery, actually, and, I guess that was that one. Anyway, they were trying to start an IV on my hand, and they were poking me, and I was screaming, and I was in there, alone, I guess. They were, in the
Mhm.
operating room or whatever, and they were trying to start the IV, and I was a hard poke. And,
Mhm.
I was screaming and screaming, and this is a story that my parents told me, um, that my y they heard me on the other side of the door, basically, and, I think my dad was ready to, like, kick down the door. I was screaming for my father to come in because my dad's
Oh
always
my
been, like, my
goodness.
main person that stayed with me in the hospitals, um,
Mhm.
and, I wanted my papa. I wanted my papa. And they wouldn't let him in, but finally they let him in, And then he happened to say, well, why don't you try in the foot, in one of her feet? And because I have
So,
no sensation below my knees. And so, surprise, surprise, you can
yeah,
poke my foot and I will watch it. And, I was probably,
wow,
holding my dad and just kind of going, ha ha ha, okay.
yeah,
Like I was okay with it because I wasn't feeling it. Like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
doctors couldn't do that. Ay,
Oh
they had to, I
gosh.
don't know how long they tried to poke me, but it was not fun, and I wanted my dad, and, like, that in itself was probably, very traumatizing, the
Yeah,
first
that sounds
experience.
crazy. Oh my goodness. It makes me so angry that you were only 5
Oh,
years
yeah.
old and they wouldn't let him in. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. I mean, I was so small, I was so young, like,
Yeah,
why I don't know why they were they
that's
were so
terrible.
mean. To this day,
Yeah.
I still doctors don't like me because I get on my high horse and I'm not too nice to them, but I try not to be mean unless they get attitude with me. But
And
I
yeah,
will get an attitude back.
I know
Definitely.
that's right. I
You know,
know that's right.
so I mean, like that's a little part of the medical trauma. Plus I had a shunt when I was 5 put in to my head into my abdomen, from my head to my abdomen. And I had that when I was 11 or 12. I was supposed to get it revised. And I also like had some issues with that. They put a new shunt in, but then I started getting a headache and I didn't know what was going on. And turns out that the shunt was like sucking up, doing something with my brain. I don't know exactly. I think it was like, I heard
Oh
by
gosh.
my father that I was left with a couple of blood clots in my brain because
Oh
the shunt was
gosh.
acting too good.
Oh Lord.
And so that was really scary. Um, that was, yeah, not fun at all. So, like, there's stuff like that. Um, but yeah. So overall, I'm not a huge fan of doctors. I am terrified of them in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I'm not very fond of them either. And I'm not very nice to them. I mean, unless they're nice to me. Like, as soon as they start saying something like, oh, this, or they start, like, giving me some kind of treatment plan that doesn't make sense, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. We need to figure out something else. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. Sometimes you something they say
yeah,
something whatever they want.
yeah, and I know that they mean it, and like most of them are not vindictive people,
Yeah,
but sometimes like I just feel like they know the typical body and they may know the typical stuff, but
yeah,
um there are people like us who are not typical, and we do not have
exactly,
the typical anatomy. And so sometimes you need to think outside the box. And I
exactly.
find that they're not all good at that. But I've had some
No,
good
they're not.
doctors though. My pediatrician was actually pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So that was pretty
that's
cool. At
it.
least I had a good pediatrician. And
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all that.
I would take a say every I so sorry to see happen to you. And I think I know so things like that some really, really good textures and some really, really bad stuff. Because I, with the third was, I know that you have to do your own research and know yourself really well. You and I like that low ties on educating the success.
Very true. Yeah, I definitely feel like with my condition too, most people don't even know about SMA here in Pennsylvania. So they're like, what is that? And I'm like, if you don't know about my condition, maybe you should be treating me. Oh, okay, what is
Yeah.
that? I'm like, that's her. And it's so. So yeah,
Oh,
um, who knows? I did all the hunt for the right doctor and a chef. I like the effort civilians had a data, like he said, can't really trust medical professionals and it's hard to find someone you
yeah,
trust. It's just a lot.
it is. It definitely, it's a lot.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, living with medical challenges can impact our mental health in ways people don't always see or notice. So, what has protected your mental health look like throughout your journey?
oof, what's protected my mental health? Whoa. That's, I I was diagnosed with panic disorder when I was about, I think 12,
Oh
and
wow,
I've gotten panic attacks. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised
those are
if,
tough.
some medical stuff had something to do with it, plus whatever else. I don't know. But, yeah, I've had, panic disorder for a long time. I've taken medication for it. But overall, I really I try and do things that I enjoy because, life can get kind of stressful. And before actually I lived here, I lived in Washington and I lived with my mom and my grandma and, my family over there. And that can be kind of stressful. For me, it was very stressful, but I needed, so for a while, I would go to Seattle. I would have to take trips every now and then just to kind of get away, just to pull
Mm,
myself out from the everyday life in the town that I was living in and just everything like that. I'm also a big fan of following one's dreams and goals. And I feel like if you do that, yes, that could be a stressful thing in itself. And that can really kind of
yeah,
drive a person crazy
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's done that to me as well. Um, but it's also kind of soothing too, in a sense, because if it's something that you really are passionate about, then it shouldn't it should be happy and it should be like a soothing thing to do, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Like, I do makeup and stuff like that. I love, whether it be doing a face chart, doing makeup on a face chart, or doing it on somebody's face or body or my own. It's it just kind of helps me quiet my brain. And so
And I'm
does
gonna
like
ask,
working out can as well. Mhm.
yeah, I was gonna ask, cause I know you're a makeup artist, so I was gonna ask you, like, is makeup part of your mental health, something that helps you kind of relax, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes like it can be stressful in the way that, like, you know, if you're on a time, you're on a, like, you're being timed, you have to go quick, and, you know, that could be really stressful. But if you know, just like anything else, makeup takes a lot of practice
Oh,
and
yeah.
practice and practice. The more you practice on faces, the more you do it, the faster you become. And
Yep.
so it becomes less stressful and it's just really enjoyable. I really, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that kind of helps my mental health and quiets my brain from, although I do have, like, just the other night when I was doing makeup, in the back of my head going, what? I was doing some makeup on somebody. I didn't like the outcome of it. And the back of my head was going. um, and you call yourself a professional? What is this you're doing? And, you know, all this kind of
Yeah,
fun
that
stuff. And you're like,
independent. Yeah, that independent
yeah,
comes
you gotta
out,
like,
That's
yes.
funny.
And that could be kind of hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you know, it's funny though. One thing that really helps my mental health is working out and like going for walks or lifting weights and helping others too. Do that because for my head, like I don't have that in the back of my head. I don't have those, you know, things trying to say negative things about it, like
Yeah.
with everything else pretty much. So yeah, that's definitely something that helps quiet my mind. It just helps me focus rather than you wanting to say, excuse me if I don't know if I'm allowed to say,
Yeah, yeah,
shut
no.
up.
Yeah.
In my own
Oh,
head.
yeah, no. Trust me, I know. And then my younger sibling, he's really into like makeup. And they actually transitioned from boy to girl. So they're really into makeup and all that. And so he does my makeup a lot for, when I have
Oh,
certain events, I'm
nice.
like, he's so good. I'm like, can you do my makeup? So a lot of the situations that I have
Yeah.
makeup on, he does it. And he
Oh,
says
that's
the same
fun.
thing. Yeah. He said the same thing. He's like, oh my god, this is so much fun, so relaxing. I could do makeup for
Yeah.
myself, but it's better to do it on someone else, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it can be so relaxing. That's one thing, doing makeup on other people, that's one thing, one luxury I don't get to have very often at all is once in a great while, it would be nice to have somebody do my makeup. That would be
I know,
fun.
right? That is, come over here, my siblings will do it. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I think you should have Drew a messenger. I think he needs one. Drew.
That would be
No way. You, you would say that,
I mean, you can use a messenger. I'm just saying.
I say, well, Willie, do like a lot of that later. Well, you can be several horns, horns,
Wow! Devil, devil horn.
yes,
I am devil horn. Yeah, I am. I'm a
yes,
person
yes,
from Vowel
yes,
Street. Ah, eh, yep, I am. Thank you very
um,
much. Um,
mm,
okay, no, seriously. That's awesome. That is beautiful. And as you was talking about, living in Washington with your mom and honey, and how stressful that is, like, I can relate. I live with my family. And mom's great. I love my family. But
Mm.
sometimes it is stressful. You don't have privacy, everybody's in your business, you know. Then there's always someone
Yeah.
in a bad mood, and
Yeah.
I can really
That's true.
relate. Yes, I can really relate to like you said, like sometimes you have to go to a different city to get out of the city you're in. And that's how I feel right
Yeah.
now. I'm like, I need to get out of the town. Like, I'm going insane. Oh.
Exactly. But, that was also part of the reason why I wanted to move. I've always wanted to, like, live in New York or close to it,
Yeah.
um, but the stress of um, living at home in Washington really helped me to get that going.
So if I'm not mistaken, right now you live in New Jersey, right?
I live in New Jersey, yeah. I live only
Okay.
about somewhere it's like 30 minutes away from the city. Not bad.
Yeah, 'cause I see you come down pretty frequently to hang out with Jesse.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, it's nice not to live across the country from it now. It's not as, 6 to 8 hour plane ride.
Oh
Oof.
yeah. That's a long time. I have a good friend that lives in Seattle, Washington, and she really wants to see
Oh,
me, and I'm like, girl, I'm not flying for that long.
you don't wanna fly across the country? You don't wanna have a long
Absolutely.
well, for me, it's a
Absolutely
long
not.
flight. Yeah, I don't
I
blame you.
mean,
Oh my
it's a
goodness.
plane was accessible, maybe.
Right. Yeah, that would be great. Oh, if planes were more accessible, actually, that would be wonderful.
I agree.
Okay, you should go back. We could do a whole nother answer so that I have pretty something sensible.
I agree. Like, you should totally come back to have another podcast with me and vent about inaccessible information.
I told you some of my airline stories, you would be like, what? So,
Ah, yeah. I love airline story. So I'm definitely making that on podcasting. Stay tuned. You found Miss Wheelchair Washington in 2014 and had the opportunity to share your story across Washington and at the national pageant. So what did that experience teach you about advocacy?
That advocacy is very important. It really it taught me a lot. Me going to the national pageant, which for me, I got to go to Southern California. It was in Long Beach, and seeing all those people, that it kinda opened up my eyes a lot that, I've been a quote unquote, excuse the air quotes, but, um, advocate, I guess you could call me, but, before then, and it just kinda opened my eyes that, like, I didn't I wasn't really doing much beforehand, but now it really it really helped me to speak up about accessibility because, when I travel, I if I have some issues with anything, I'm not afraid to speak up. It's really taught me not to be afraid to speak up when it comes to disability because 'cause I'm not afraid to speak up about a lot of things, but speaking up for accessibility was a challenge for me. Just because like I didn't know what was like accepted and what wasn't accepted. And, it's
Yeah,
really kind of taught me it doesn't matter what's accepted and what's not accepted. You have a right to have accessibility, for you. You
absolutely.
have a right. And in order to get that right fulfilled, you have to speak up. And so it's really taught me a lot about that. And also, when I was looking for my apartment over here, it really helped me with that, with looking into apartments and whatnot. It really kind of helped me open my eyes to what do I look for in an accessible apartment
Oh, yeah,
and, that
that's a
kind of
good
thing,
thing.
which is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
So
huge thing.
it's really like it in some ways it's really kind of opened my eyes and kind of turned things around for me to look at them in a different light and to
Yeah,
actually look at it from a disability point of view instead of the opposite.
yeah, that's really amazing. Can I take it right? Like, it's fine to know
Mhm.
how to advocate on one side on what are our rights and all this stuff, and what are limits and how can we track the limits and I mean, it's challenging. And also just
Mhm.
wake up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be an advocate." Like you really have to know, like what you're
Right.
advocating for, and look at all the logistics around that. So, I mean, I'm glad you have that saying, and it's taught you, like, you know, you should be able to speak up about anything that's gonna have a direct impact like you. And, you know, I
Exactly.
love, yeah,
We should have the
absolutely.
same rights as
Yeah,
people who are able-bodied, so how else are we gonna fight for those rights, I guess, and unless we need to speak up for them, whether it be for ourselves
absolutely.
or for the group
Yeah,
or, in some kind of way.
yes. And I still believe, like, even though we can advocate for ourselves, it's still nice to have a voice
Exactly.
sometimes, right? Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, hey,
yes,
advocating for yourself is a form of advocating. You're advocating for yourself.
yeah. And I kind of like, I have so many plans that will for me, and if I'm like share and experience, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so this happened and that happened, and they're like, what? Oh no, what's this person's been? What? Like, they're like running, I'm like, kill this person for me, and they're like, that is not right. And I've had people make phone calls
Mhm.
to me and kind of see how my behalf because I just don't like I don't think they're gonna take me seriously enough. Oh well don't take me
Yeah.
seriously. So I have friends that
Uh-huh.
have advocated for me as well. And Drew is a huge advocate. I mean, especially when it comes to his sons, his
Yes,
bullshit.
and, and anything else, was like anything else, let's run on the kids like you. Oh, so sorry I had to translate one thing that I would consider people like that.
Yes, yes. Uh, and a lot of times, I'm the one checking what he said,
Yeah.
so they know he means business. And I'm like, they look at
Yeah.
me like,
Yeah.
what? I'm like, that's what he said. what happened?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way we make it absolutely team job.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we have to. Okay. So also, you know, you mentioned wanted to talk about independence. And for many disabled people, independence doesn't always look the way society expects it from us. So, how do you personally define independence?
It, throughout my life, I would say that I've had different definitions of independent. Um, definitely. Like, let's see, at some point, you know, being able to, I walked with reciprocal gait braces when I was young, up until I was about 10 years old. And, sometimes like walking, with crutches and braces for me, that was a form of independence for me, getting
Like,
just kind of doing things on my own, crawling on my own, um, to like now, like today, I feel like I am very independent as somebody who, as a disabled woman who lives on her own, um, and is, does holds multiple jobs, I guess you can say. Um,
wow, yeah, I can
and
do a lot.
I guess now I would define it as being able to do on my own with or without the fear. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard from so many people when I moved here that they're like, "Oh my gosh, you moved across the country by yourself? What?" That's, like, either that's brave or crazy. Like, um, but I just kind of feel like if you want it bad enough, whatever you call independent, you can get there. You just have to want it bad enough, honestly. It takes, just like a lot of things, it takes a lot of practice.
Mm-hmm.
I've, I've traveled on trains, I've traveled on planes, um, I've, I travel from different areas. I'm not afraid to travel. But I used to be terrified of flying. I don't like flying too much because it takes way too long, in my opinion, and it gets really boring. But
Yeah. And then I have to use the bathroom sometimes.
yeah, exactly. Being on a plane and you got to use the bathroom. That's what you gotta. It, There used to be like straight flights across the country, actually, and I used to do those
Mm.
until they stopped doing them. And now it's like there's I get like one layover. Um, but I need to make sure that it's enough time since I'm the last person off the plane. I need to be able to get off the plane with enough time to get to the transfer. And if I have to go to the bathroom, I need to have the time to go stop at the bathroom and then continue on.
Yeah.
So sometimes that looks like a minimum of sometimes it's a minimum of an hour. Um, Sometimes like, cause 30 minutes is usually not enough time for me to let everybody get off the plane and have me get off the plane and go to the bathroom and like and then go to the connection. 30 minutes is not enough time. So I need a minimum of like
Absolutely
an
not.
hour.
Wow,
But
yeah.
it's but I do feel that like if you want something bad enough, now that I'm learning this for myself too, I'm still kind of going through it myself. I'm not 100% where I want to be in life, but
Right.
I'm now in the process. I'm definitely in the process. I'm where I want to be as far as location. Um, and I have more opportunities for my line of work. Um, like I feel like I can be the independent person I want to be, you know?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that exactly answered the question, but
No, no, no.
that's how I feel
Wonderful.
about it.
I love that so much. Because like you said, many, I feel like in society standards, society independence, walking on some cities and being a typical labor market citizen and able to just like from A to Z, like, from Zoom and so, well, no, not really realistic in the disability world. And some of us need sometimes, like devices like a bullshit, those spaces to talk about a walker, anything else out there, some of us need them. They simply independent, right? That's what the health says
Yeah.
from the soil is to be independently. So I appreciate
Mhm.
that, how you frame that, And I also think sometimes okay, society standards, oh, you're not independent if someone else has to do things for you. And I'm like, there's no such thing as true independence.
Yeah.
So I like to say from
I
inter,
mean,
interdependent.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's like everybody has their idea of what independent is for them, and that's going to look different for everybody. And, who
absolutely.
there shouldn't be like one definition of independent. Oh, you have to live on your own. You have to do everything on your own. Oh, you have to do blah, 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 blah. And then you're independent. I mean, there
Yeah,
are plenty of people out there who need help on the daily who are plenty independent. They need to be able to tell the people who are helping them how to help them. They need
yep,
to they need to be able to communicate to them efficiently. And there's a lot that kind of goes into it. It's more than what people may think.
Uh,
yes, I
I
agree.
I love what you said about easy easy why is it said about Evelyna you can tendency when that's like trees but I had to realize what you just said that like definitely where is it look like one thing is always evolving and always changing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. And
Yeah,
what I like
and
to briefly touch on is some people they they have some they have the right to define independence for us. And it's like, oh well, this is
yeah,
what independence is. No, who said that? Like you don't have the right to say
and
what
just because
independence
it's
looks like.
their idea of
Yeah,
what, doesn't mean
yeah,
it's everybody else's. Doesn't mean that it's even somebody else's idea of
exactly.
independent.
Yes, exactly. And you said, correct one misconception people have about wheelchair users or disability?
Mm,
What would it be?
that, you know, as far as wheelchair users go, I mean, just because people see us sitting in, you know, chairs and these are our mobility devices, they are not our, uh, they, they don't, I don't I don't know how to say this without sounding really rude. Um,
It's okay.
they don't
You can be
our
honest.
mobility
I'm just
our mobility devices don't talk for us, don't think for us, don't, um, they help us get around, yes, but just because we need to use them doesn't mean that we are mentally incapable.
That's right, yeah.
Because I know plenty of people, like for me, and I know a lot of other people have dealt with this too. Okay, that people, if you're with somebody, you don't really get talked to.
Yes.
The other person gets spoken to.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
that
one time
question.
I was buying a computer one time and I had a good friend with me who knew about electronics more than me. And he's taught me a lot about electronics, but
Uh-huh.
I was the one buying the computer and he was the one that the salesperson was talking to about the computer. And so my friend kept on looking like deferring to me, going, "So what did you want in the computer? You're the one buying the computer, or what?" And
Uh,
the stupid sales guy, I don't know if he just didn't get the clues or didn't want to just speak directly to me, like, for whatever reason. But I was like, um,
yeah.
since I'm the one buying the computer, dude, I had
Yeah.
to speak up. But,
I'm the
yeah,
one
that was
that
like,
you
I
business.
hate it when people do that.
Yeah.
And actually, I I have to say this, one of the things that I absolutely love about living here is I love the people. I feel so much more comfortable here than I did in California or in, Washington, or really kind of any other place that I've lived. I feel like I'm looked at more as a regular person over here than I was over there, which is so nice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice. I think you're so like a little more respectful, over there.
Yeah,
Cause it's fine. You can
exactly.
really, some people can really take away, like, they can feel dehumanized almost. Just simple experiences, like, you said, calling my computer, people talking to the person with you, or so to you, it's like, hello, I'm still a person here, I'm not invisible. Uh,
Yep, exactly.
Ever, Evelyn,
Yeah,
I would tell you that I I get to like that every day when I go to work or almost every day. And I want to say that every case we had a podcast with a wheelchair user talks about that they said,
yeah, it's very true. She
so
said that,
it's really important that we highlight that.
I agree. Yeah, he said, he made a good point that almost, well, not almost, every guest we've had on the podcast from when we first got into now has said the same thing. It was like, oh my gosh, she told talk who's with me instead of sending. So he said, like, that's very important to us to highlight because it's not just one or two people saying it. You know, it's like this is a
Uh-huh.
shared experience. I feel like among people with especially physical disability because I know some people that have like autism or Down syndrome, and those disabilities, they
Mm.
don't affect them physically, but it affects them psychologically. But I feel like they
Yeah.
get treated much better than someone with a physical disability. You know?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I agree.
At the end of the intake poem, you know something that really stuck with me. You said that you want listeners to know that they don't have to be afraid to do what they feel is right. They are allowed to let your dreams and goals come true. Don't be afraid to speak
Mm.
up for yourself. If someone listening today feels stuck, unseen, or afraid to pursue the life they want, what would you say that must be to them?
I know it's hard to do certain things. I know. I don't know if I should give away my age. I'm 46 years old and I am finally doing what the hell I want in my life, what I've wanted to do. And it took a long time. It takes a lot of guts, but you can do it. If you need to do it with somebody, grab somebody, like a pet, a person, a sidekick. Do it in small steps. It doesn't have to be a large leap at all. Large leaps can be really scary. So just do it little at a time, because you'll get there as long as you just don't give up. Just keep on going in whatever way you know how, because you'll get there. You'll get there just if you don't give up on what you want. And you may have to take breaks. You may have to, stop for a little while, but come back to it if that's what you want. If you want it bad enough, you will come back to it and you will make that next step.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I said,
very
I'm
true.
46 years old. It took me a long time to get here.
Yeah, I love that, right? And like that, like sometimes things happen later in life, but that's okay. You still reach that point where it's like, you know, you reach that point where it's like, okay, now I'm gonna choose me, so to speak, and choose and do what makes me happy, regardless of disability, no disability, physical, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, we all prefer to achieve our goals and our dreams. So, this is also a question. Um, our podcast is called Still Recovery because in reality, growth never really ends. So, who is Evelina becoming today? That younger Evelina never imagined.
Um, my younger self would be thrilled that I made it happen for myself, that I live in New Jersey, close enough to New York City, that I can go there on a daily basis, because that
Yeah.
is something that I've wanted since I was about 4 years old, roughly 4, 5, 6. I was very young. Yeah. So that's been a kind of a lifelong dream of mine that I made happen. And I think she would just be giddy with excitement because um, so many times She didn't think it was gonna happen for her so many times.
That's awesome. So who are you becoming? I mean, who are you still becoming?
I'm still becoming the makeup artist that I know I'm capable of becoming. The special effects makeup artist that I
Oh,
know I can be. Yes.
that's
I
amazing.
love special
So you
effects.
also do makeup, you do special effects makeup. See you? Ah, yeah, see, the devil horn. I'm definitely coming in. We're gonna make you a devil for Halloween.
Yes, that'd be fun. Hey, you know, I'm taking Halloween appointments.
I love that. And I think it's amazing because in makeup, we don't have a lot of disabled makeup artists. And so, if there's ever
Yes.
anything I could do to help you advertise, please let me know. I'll be happy to post on my social
Mhm.
media accounts. Anywhere I can help, just let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And anyone who's in the New Jersey area and you're looking for a makeup artist, make sure you check out Evelyna.
Yes, absolutely. Heck yeah.
Well,
You could
Evelina,
check out my Instagram.
yes, yes. I'll be sure to share your handle, your social media handle when I share this episode.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
I will say thank you so much for coming in. It was really, it was a pleasure to have you and talk to you, stranger.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to meet you, to meet both of you, and to talk to you guys. I really, really have enjoyed myself.
Yes, yes, yes. Special pleasure having you. So, listening, once again, thank you for stopping by, spending time with us. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who may need this conversation. And you can just also share how awesome the podcast is in general. If you are interested in being on the podcast as a guest, you can reach out to us at podcaststillbecoming@gmail.com. That's podcaststillbecoming@gmail.com. Until next time, remember that your story isn't over and you are still becoming.